Welcome to Pineapple Knits, a knitting and spinning videocast. I'm Marina, and you can find me everywhere on the web at Pineapple Yarn, especially Instagram where I'm most active. And you can visit my hand-dyed yarn, fiber, and candle company at pineappleyarn.com. Thank you so much for joining me again this week, and if this is your first time joining the podcast, welcome. I'm so glad that you found me and you're here to chat about knitting and spinning and other crafting. I am here in coastal South Carolina and it has just been beautiful, hot weather. I absolutely love it. And we have all really been enjoying the weather and the beach and gardening, so no complaints. But yeah, it's been a really busy week. I have been able to squeeze in a few extra crafting moments here and there. So the first thing that I want to talk about is that I actually finished a project, but I don't have it with me. I actually finished the Dotted Race Shawl by Stephen West. I've been working on this for so long, and it is currently blocking. So next week I will be able to show you all of the info about that. I did want to show you one thing, and I thought this was very funny. So I ended up using, it probably will end up being a little over 300 grams. So like 3 full skeins of yarn. And this is all I had left. Maybe this is a gram. I have no idea. It's the tiniest little bit of yarn. Good thing I didn't make any ends longer or any joins any longer. This is so crazy how tiny this is. This is all I had left of that 6 50-gram skein kit that I made my shawl out of. So needless to say, I was very happy to finish with a little bit of yarn to spare. And yeah, so it's blocking right now. And so I'm so excited to be able to take photos of it and weigh it and show it off to you next week. So that was a big project to have off the needles. So with that being said, I really focused completely on that this week, getting it done. I didn't work on my Dahlia Solo sweater, the baby sweater that I'm going to be giving as a gift. I didn't work on it at all this week. And then with Tour de Fleece starting, I really wanted to focus on spinning. So that's what I have mostly to show you this week. I'm going to go ahead and show you the first skein that I finished this week. This is my Seagull attack on Corriedale. This is a fiber that I dyed. It's a pineapple yarn fiber, and it is 100% Corriedale, so it's just a really beautiful, springy, it's a really long staple length, so it's just so easy to spin. And this ended up being a beautiful 2-ply. I would say this is probably a heavy DK to a light worsted weight. It's about 190 grams and it weighs right in at, I'm sorry, it's not 190 grams. It's about 100 grams and it ended up being about 190 yards. So I'll show you up close. I was pretty happy with the consistency of this. Just trying to get a little better every time I spin. I spun this using a short backward draft with smoothing, so it ended up just being like a really smooth yarn. And the way that I spun this, I had, I think I divided it in half widthwise. So basically when you have your long fiber, I just split that in half to end up with 2 shorter pieces of still like the full width of fiber. And then I stripped those down into long lengthwise strips just so I could manage it a little better and really work on my consistency and, you know, just make like the, I guess the most consistent yarn that I could. I am pretty happy with how this turned out, actually. I think it turned out really even for me. And the way this was dyed is, the way I dye fiber is just really random. I don't have like chunks of color where you can do like a lot of color management. This is kind of just, you know, saturated all over. It has kind of speckles all over too. And so you end up with a really pretty kind of a tonal yarn, but it does have a little bit of variation through, which I think just lends itself to being a really pretty yarn. So yay, that was really exciting to finish. It's gonna go in my hand-spun stash. I have no specific plans for it. I have a lot of yarn that is kind of the same color family for some reason. Just really gravitate toward the warm kind of pinky oranges, so it will become something someday, but I was happy about that. And I actually finished a second skein of yarn which is it was just so fun. I had to dive in and do this. I'm actually going to grab one of the fibers really quickly so you can see what it looked like when I first started. I have really enjoyed playing with the actual fiber before it becomes yarn. I absolutely love to spin, and so I think the natural step for me as a yarn dyer was obviously to dye fiber. And so I have been playing with lots of different breeds, you know, sheep breeds and wool blends and different synthetic fibers. And I ordered quite a while ago, this was several months ago, I ordered a couple different custom blends, and this was one of them. This is a Cheviot and Sari Silk blend, and this will be going into the shop on Friday. It's called Summer Fun. And it's really kind of like confetti. It has all of these little bits of rainbow sari silk blended into this super kind of crimpy Cheviot, and it is so fun to spin. This was really, really fun. And so not only do you get all of the colors in this fiber from the sari silk, but then I also applied dye on top of it. And so it ends up just being a really, really fun fiber. So I had to save one for myself. And this is what I ended up spinning. So this is what I ended up spinning. Again, this is Cheviot and Sari Silk. It is a custom blend that I designed, and the Sari Silk is just amazing. All of this, I mean, it really just looks like rainbow tweed, amazing texture. And then the dye that I applied over this just really made it it was just another element to such a cool fiber. I can't tell you how much I love this. And so one thing I did, and I will explain this as I'm close. One thing I did is I left in kind of these larger bits of fiber, or excuse me, of the sari silk, and I debated whether to take them out because I knew it was going to kind of make it a little more uneven, but I just went with it and left some of those bigger pieces in, and I'm happy I did because it's so fun. This ended up being such a fun yarn, and I did this, this is a 2-ply. I think it ended up being about 110 grams, because when I measure out my fiber, it's usually, you will receive at least 100 grams, and most of the time you'll receive more, because that's just the way I measure it out. But this ended up being about 110 grams, and it's in the low 200 yards. I can't remember because I am so bad at taking notes. I need to get like some kind of tags, some kind of labels or something for my hand-spun that I can write all of these details on, because all the time I'm like, how did I spin this? You know, not to even mention, A lot of times I have no idea what the yardage is on my hand-spun, which is crazy. But again, I used a short backward draft in this fiber, and I did it without smoothing, so a lot of air was able to come into the fiber. The little bits of sari silk were able to stand out of the fiber to really give that little pop of texture and color. And I thought this turned out so pretty. I'm really, really happy with it. I still have, so the Summer Fun colorway will be going into the shop on this base, on this fiber, but I have more of the Cheviot and Sari Silk that I will be dyeing with different colors. So this was so fun. I think it's really pretty. I can picture this because it just screams fall to me, and I think I will be making some kind of autumn accessory with it. Maybe, you know, like a hat or a cowl. But this is probably a worsted weight, I would say. So that was my second skein done. And so yeah, so far during Tour de Fleece, as you may know, Tour de Fleece is kind of a self-challenge when the Tour de France is usually happening, just to spin as much as you can. You know, purchase new fiber and use that, or stash down whatever you want, and there's teams and challenges, and it's just a really fun community event. I kind of forgot that it was happening this year. So I didn't join a team or anything, but I am going to focus on, and I couldn't remember how long it was, but I believe it's 21 days. So the next 21 days, I will be focusing on spinning, and yeah, I don't have a lot of time during the day to spin tons and tons of fiber, but I'll do what I can. So those are the two that I got done this week. And then, of course, I did start another one last night. And let me go ahead and show you the fiber first. This is the fiber that I showed you, I think, a couple of weeks ago. This is from Paradise Fibers. This was their Fiber of the Month Club for June. And it's a really, really beautiful blended top. Look at that sheen. Isn't that gorgeous? I don't have the exact info on it because I didn't bring it with me, and there's several different fibers in here, but it is a BFL, a blue face luster base, and then it has, I know it has a little bit of flax, ramie. I'm pretty sure it also has some rose fiber. So I can't exactly remember, but I thought this was so beautiful. Not really, I mean, like lavender isn't really my color that I would normally go for, but I decided to start spinning anyway, and so here's where I am. And as you can see, this is just a really, really beautiful sheen. I'm spinning pretty fine right now. I'm using one of my faster whorls. I can't remember the exact ratio, but basically I'm just taking chunks of this top. I'm just taking a chunk off and spinning straight from the top. I started out spinning from the fold, and I just didn't really like how that was going. It might be because there are some longer fibers in here. To be honest, I just don't know enough about spinning from the fold to actually know. I do know spinning from the fold is nice with like maybe some silk blends or things with shorter fibers, or I could be totally off. I don't know. I should really look that up after this podcast. But this is, it does have quite a long staple length. I will just get this out really fast and look. So what I'm doing, this is quite a bit of fiber as well. I don't know if I'll be spinning all of it because these bobbins, I should say I have a Kromski Minstrel, and I really do love it. I spin in double drive on it, and that's one of the reasons why I purchased it, because it had the double drive option. But my bobbins can't hold a ton. So as I pull this top apart, I mean, this is what I'm working with. So I'm sure this is very, very long. So let's see if we can get it a little shorter. I mean, even that is pretty long. So that's kind of how I have been spinning. I've just been taking a chunk off the top and just spinning straight from the top with smoothing, just because I really want to maintain that luster and that sheen. I think it's so beautiful. And so yeah, I mean, what will this become eventually? I think, I'm not sure yet, but I did not weigh this fiber before I started, and so I'm not sure if this will become maybe a 3-ply, like a chain plied. I don't know. I don't know if this is really suited for a chain ply. I'd have to do a little more research on that. I don't know. You know, it does have a little bit of flax in it, so that kind of throws off what I would do with it. In my mind, it kind of does anyway. I think this would be absolutely beautiful brushed into rollags. If you put this on a blending board and then maybe added some of the sparkle, the Angelina that came with the in the Fiber of the Month Club box, and you spun it woolen from the rollags, that would also be very pretty. So I don't know. I'm just kind of trying it out, seeing how that goes. And this is the whorl that I'm actually, except brought my whole flyer in. I've noticed that when I'm in the process of spinning, I always bring the entire flyer in. Anyway, this is the whorl that is on it. This isn't the fastest whorl that Kromski sells. This was just the one that was included in my wheel. And you know what, if I remember, I'll put it up here what the ratio is. I'm not doing like the absolute fastest here. I'm doing like the second fastest. So, and even that is questionable. You know, I started spinning it on a lower ratio, and it was holding together fine, but I wanted to get a little more twist in it. But I think what is throwing me off is the silk content maybe, or the BFL. I'm just not sure. There isn't a ton of twist in this still, probably because it's just sitting on the bobbin, but I did try to put more twist in it with the hopes that I could ply it. I don't know. And I don't know if it, well, it does have a little bit of twist. It's probably just because it's the end. Anyway, deep thoughts here. So I'll continue to work on that. I had started a camel and silk blend, like a 50-50 blend. And I'm going to be honest, I didn't like it. I don't know if it's just the silk, it's just not my thing. I really like kind of a woolly, not necessarily like a textured yarn, but I don't mind silk if there's some in it, like brushed pretty well in it. It's just, I don't know, it's just not really what I've wanted to spin lately. So I'll keep going on this because I already started, and why not, right? Why not? But that's really it that I've been working on this week. I will probably continue working on my Dahlia Solo sweater, which is a super sweet pattern and quite an enjoyable knit. So I'm excited to start focusing in on that. And then I'm probably going to be spinning a ton just because I'm really enjoying it right now. So I did want to show you one acquisition and then tell you about a new purchase that I just made. So if you haven't received your Hedgehog Fibers Fiber of the Month Club for June, go ahead and skip ahead. I'm sure everyone has received it, especially if you are not in the US. Maybe, I shouldn't say that. Maybe if you're in Europe, it came a little faster, but I just received mine and it's July 1st today. So anyway, skip ahead if you don't want the surprise to be spoiled. But this is the Hedgehog Fibers Fiber of the Month Club for June. And I really, really love this. This is beautiful. It has so much sparkle. This is a 70% merino, 30% sparkle. I thought this was so pretty. You can really see the sparkle in that too. There is a ton of it. It's awesome. And then, you know, just I love the way they dye their fiber. It's just kind of all over the place, and they have so many different beautiful colors in here. I see, you know, got a little pops of neon in here, but then some darker spots, and you know, it's predominantly blue and green, but there's just some really interesting interesting colors in here. I'm going to take it out so you can see it a little better. This sparkle is definitely visible in real life. It's so sparkly. Oh my goodness. So this will be really, really fun to spin. I may start spinning it after I finish my current spin, just because it's so beautiful. It'll be really fun. And I don't know how I will spin it though. I might start planning as far as, you know, how I want this to end up. You know, do I want a 2-ply? I love 2-ply. It's probably my favorite. Just because I love barber pulling, and I feel like 3-ply, a lot of times everything kind of blends together a little more, which is really, really nice, but not exactly the look that is my favorite. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. This is, I just really love their fiber club. It's always such a surprise, and they always have custom blends, and you just never know what color you're going to receive. You don't know what blend you're going to receive, so it's always really fun to receive this in the mail. And so the last thing that I wanted to talk to you about is I've been thinking of starting to weave, and because, you know, you can't have too many crafts, too many projects going on, right? So I've been feeling like this probably since I filmed the podcast last week, and just kind of playing with, you know, what size I'll get. I'm a total newbie. I don't really know. I don't know. It's kind of been one of those things, like in one of my early podcasts, when I purchased my spinning wheel, I kind of gave the backstory about how I'd wanted a spinning wheel for so long. Like even when I was little, when I was a very young child, I really wanted one. And so the same thing is, it's with a loom. I wanted to weave on a loom, and of course, in my mind, as a child, I want like a massive floor loom, which is not going to happen right now. So I just went all the way opposite from a floor loom, I'm pretty sure, and I just purchased a Kromski rigid huddle loom. It is the 10-inch Presto, and so it's just a little tiny loom, and it is a rigid huddle, so I guess it's not completely the other side of the spectrum from a floor loom, but Paradise Fibers is actually having a really great promo right now where you can get a stand for free if you purchase a 10-inch Presto. And so while a 10-inch probably isn't the most versatile loom that a person could buy, I think it's going to give me a really great start just as far as like warping it and figuring out all the different terms and techniques. I think it'll be a really great start. I do know that I will have children who want to use it as well, and so that will be a really great size for them. And a 10-inch actually would be a really great loom to use on a table, or use, I suppose you could put it in your lap as well. But I kind of pictured sitting in a chair with a loom on a stand and being able to use it that way. I think it'll be the most comfortable. I can have the best posture when I do it, just to eliminate aches and pains and whatnot. So I just purchased that. I will let you know how it goes. Yeah, it was kind of, it wasn't really an impulse buy. It's probably, if I enjoy weaving, I will save up for a larger loom in the future, but I think it'll be a really fun little hobby to start. And yeah, I would love to hear if you weave or if you have had experience with different looms. I would love if you would share some of your comments or experiences down below. Anything, because I'm a newbie and I really don't know anything. All I know is that I don't have room for a floor loom. Maybe someday I'll get there, but just like with spinning, it seems like such a huge learning curve to master, I guess. So any kind of advice or any experience, anywhere you could point me in the right direction, I would absolutely love. I would love your advice. And I also put a link below where you can check out the loom that I just purchased. But that is all I have going on this week. I will be filming a shop update preview after this video, and my shop update will be this Friday, July 3rd at 8 p.m. Eastern Time at pineappleyarn.com. I hope you will join me there. And if you're in the US this weekend, I hope you have a wonderful Independence Day and you're able to celebrate with family and friends. And until next time, I hope you have an awesome day. Bye.